Hey there, everyone. Things are popping in the pre-market. Big Bear AI we've been tracking. NVTS, I would also like to give an update on that. Ocen also really pumping this morning as well. One of my best penny stocks to buy now. And then also we'll take a look at the overall market bias, the background that we have, and the sort of confirmation that we might be seeing based on what I thought might happen following the Fed meeting. And then we'll see how it plays out as we get into early October. So guys, without further ado, we're going to put these charts up here. And as you see these charts, just know that I give updates over at the Discord. Links in the description. Code word doctor is going to get you 50% off your first month sign up. We are gapping up so far in the pre-market here from 590s close yesterday to almost 596 in the pre-market. So gearing up for that new all-time high. Remember, I said for the Qs, 602 to 610 within 2025. So we are getting super close to making that a reality. And then we have some important lines that come in around there. Let's see if I can show some of those. There we go. So we have some Fibonacci extensions that show that range. And guys, this is a lot to punch through that's up here. And maybe that's what we reach into that early October, that first week in October, we get that jobs data that lets us know if we're going to continue to push up above here and maybe see 619 to 624 as we come to a close in 2025. Or if we're going to get a rejection off of this and sell back down. I think that pressure still remains on the labor market data. So that confirmation I was talking about would be that the general direction is still up from here until we see actual news that shows us otherwise. So right now we haven't had that downward catalyzing event. And so the Fed meeting, even though it had some questionable parts to it and 25 basis points and not 50, the general direction still looking like it could be up. We'll see how this plays out over time. So IWM flirting with that previous all-time high that it had going back to November 24. This high wick that we got up here yesterday, pulling that back down, and now we're back up. So down about, well, $4. I have 3.5. We'll call it $3.40 from yesterday's close. We're up from that value. We'll see if we can pop it today. 248 is what I'm looking for from the inverse head and shoulders pattern that we have. Let me toss that up on screen just in case you're a first-time viewer to the channel. There's the inverse head and shoulders that I was talking about. I said about the neckline we had to break, and break it we did. We did have a retesting moment on these. Maybe you see the green, white, yellow, and red channel that we have in here. I'll show that to you in a moment. But along with that inverse head and shoulders, there's the price target. It suggests of 248. And guys, we are almost there. So I'm going to actually put the technical up there for you. So there we go. We'll go with that 248. We'll see if we can get it right at 08. There we go. That's the line that we're looking to touch from the inverse head and shoulders. That would mean that pattern played out. Then we'll watch and see what we get from there. And I would just like to point out that if we go out to the monthly chart on this thing and really look to see what we have, let me reset the view. There's that decades long. So actually, well, back to 2009. So 16 years, 1.6 decades worth of time of being in this channel for the small cap stocks. And I think that we still have a little bit of a small cap rally to go ahead of us yet. We'll see if this thing can keep on pushing from where we're at right now and allow us to really get some deep value out of that. Now, you might see something that looks like a cup and handle here. I talked about that in the past. So for that, maybe we can forgive ourselves this handle right here. And if that's the case, that really slaps just a massive price target on something like this. Let me go here and I'll do this live for you guys so you can see what I'm doing. And let me turn off the magnet. That's going to mess us up a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to go from the bottom of this cup up to about where the top of this handle would be. There we go. It'd be right about there. And if we copy that and paste it, and then we tack it onto wherever that breakout might be from that handle, there we go. That actually suggests a price. Let me actually do one final adjustment. I like that better right there. So that actually suggests a price of like 276 for those small caps. Now, I don't know that we hit that in 2025. That 2048 is still what I'm sticking to, especially as we're really darn close to it. But we'll see if favorable conditions continue to hit, because if favorable conditions do continue to hit, then we could see that 276 come out of there from this cup and handle that we had. This just goes all the way back to 2021 and then all the way forward to 2024. So 3 years long in the making, and then that sell down that we have, and now we're getting that breakout moment. So go ahead and call that another price target on here. Maybe we see it in 2025. There's that possibility. But honestly, pushing into 2026 might also be a possibility that we're looking for. So that recession that never came, for example, that we really did have soft landing, and then we start to see that strength really start to pick up for us. We'll say in the face of labor market stabilization, continued subdued inflation, strong GDP numbers coming out of that as well. Those can all be good at constraining factors. So Bitcoin breaking up to 117. 217 would be incredible. Price target that I have on Bitcoin for 2025 is 150,000 per BTC. And so far, this touchdown here, by the way, is on the neckline of an inverse head and shoulders, which points up to that $150,000 price tag that I have here, and I have it labeled on here. If you look real close, it says inverse INV, H, and S. So inverse head and shoulders suggests that we could see that price tag. We have got to fight through this red resistance that's up here. Now, mind you, I've been talking past several days about this shelf that we're hitting. We're hitting the bottom of this shelf that's over here where those prices took off before and we saw that massive support. Now we have some resistance to fight through, and we're looking for that massive momentum that can put us up through it. All right, into the Big Bear AI. The number that I said that we have to sit on top of. I'll speak a little bit slower for this. I know I get fast, but I talk fast, but I get excited. So that number to sit on top of is $6.20 per share for Big Bear AI. Sitting on top of that allows us to at least get about another 50 cents on top of that, 49 cents. And then up above, that's where we can start to crack that $7 mark. 620 is going to be a hard line, not only because of the retracement level that we have, the 38.2, but it also coincides with these bottoms that we have over here where we saw that massive support. That gets turned into massive resistance. And it's not just this one line. There's a whole mess of lines, a whole tangle that I took down just for easy viewing that we could most certainly put those back up and you'll start to see them build up over time. I just don't know that it's all that helpful. The line in the sand here happens to be that 620 number. And we still have a little bit of a fight to get through. We can get that, but if the momentum pushes there, if the volume stays, that can be very good for us. That can be a very bullish thing. And we are solidly back into bullish territory for Big Bear AI on volume confirmation, on a momentum basis, and also not just daily, but also weekly and monthly as well. We have a lot of confluence here. We can push this thing higher if the momentum, if the volumes hold out. So let's keep an eye on that. And I think that we could see some very good things coming out of it in the near future. NVTS, I talked about this yesterday, and the fact that we got a good volume push back up above the 50 EMA, and then also up above the 5 and 13s, and right down here's the 200. There's the volume that we were looking at. And if we shrink that back down so we can focus on the candles, you can see that close up above the 50s so far. We're pushing up to 674 after closing yesterday at 646. So we're getting some strong price performance in the pre-market hours. And if we look a little bit further left on this, you can see that there is some chop, there is some mess that happens to be in here. Up to about 730 or so is what we're looking for. That volume movement that we got with the momentum also being ripe at 54, almost 55. We're at 56 on the weekly, and on the monthly, we're at about 55 and climbing. So NVTS could be very exciting for us. And there's also a few more things. First of all, on the monthly chart, we are currently flirting with 669, which is that 50 month that's on here. Let me take down the candle so you can see the moving averages just a little bit better. So we'll pop those down. This red little squiggle that you can see coming across your screen, that's what our price action is currently above, and that's what we want to be above. That can signal some really long-term bullishness for NVTS, so Navitas Semiconductor Corporation. So let me put those back up. There we go. And we'll go down to the weekly chart and see what we got. And what you can see is that not only on the daily and the monthly are things good, but also on the weekly, where this blue line coming across this way is the 200-day, and it was flat, which makes for solid resistance. We are up above it right now, closed up above it yesterday, and we're up above it again today. And then we also have the 5 and the 13 potentially crossing it with that 50, which is down here. And this is the weekly chart. You can see the W here in the background. Every candle's 1 week. If we continue to see that strong price movement, we have a lot of reasons to suggest from a technical standpoint that this thing can keep on pushing up over time. Maybe it goes back and retests these peaks where we started to see it up over $9 per share. So that's NVTS that we're talking about. And just to touch on Palantir real quick, Palantir, look at that buying pressure that we got off the bottom, looking a lot like SoFi did in terms of its candle that it had yesterday in the market. I think today it has that potential, if the market strength can hold out, and signs are suggesting that it will, that we're going to pop the top of this thing. And when we do pop over this value that we have here, which happens to be at 171.80, if we're able to take that, there's the line finally snapped down, overtake the 171.80, that opens us up to that 185 number with not a lot in between to really hold us back. So that's what we're looking for Palantir. For SoFi also, there's that candle that I was talking about, like we had for Palantir. Little narrow red body up at the top, not too much of a top wick on that. Lots of buying pressure off the 13. Now we're seeing it up at 27.70 in the pre-market. Now for SoFi, this thing has to pop over 27.88 to put in that new high and really enable us to reach for that price target that happens to be to the north, where we start to break north of $28 per share to take on the previous all-time high. And we can expect probably at least an intraday rejection should we reach that. But we'll watch and see if the momentum can hold out and really allow us to punch on through. The last stock that I want to leave you with before we close things up, and by the way, guys, you can see my transactions over at the Discord, code word doctor when you sign up, DOCTOR. That's going to allow you to see my transactions, see my technicals, and I'm just one of the panel experts over there, ready to serve you in your journey towards financial freedom and building alpha in your portfolio. And 50% off your first month sign up. Might as well try it out. Very low risk, and you're going to really enjoy not only the ecosystem that's over there for products and services, but also the amazing community of thousands that are over there waiting for you as well, guys. The best place where you can go and you can talk about money. All right, so Ocen, let me toss that one up there for you, and there it is. So up about 8% in the pre-market hours, but it's been up as much as 15%. You can see we popped up above this trend line that we had here for resistance. Got rejected, sold down. Yesterday broke out on strong volume, so we had the volume confirmation this move, and this thing's still pumping. We could see this thing turn into $2 per share, which still allows about a 30% upside from where we see it right now. So that goes along with the previous peaks that we had on this one, at least in recent time, because this thing has traded pretty volatilely over that time because, well, it is a penny stock. And, well, it's been profitless for a long time, still remains profitless, but there you can see those previous peaks that we get to take on, and we're starting to overcome a lot of this resistance pressure that we had over here, and those peaks happen to be right around $2, so that's what I'm looking for Ocen. And just because I just happen to see this as I'm recording here, BEEM, BEEM, another one of the best penny stocks to buy now. Check out its weekly chart because its price action this morning, right now we're at 25% on it. Don't know if there's any news pushing this or not, but I will say that right now that move up above the 50 could cause some more bullish crossovers on this weekly chart. And if we can break up over that $3.40 mark, this thing can move up to $4.30 in a darn hurry. So there you go. BEEM might be pretty interesting. Let's just look at the volume, see what it's doing in the pre-market here. See, oh, man. Oh, yeah. That is on some good volume. Just take a look that even all the intraday volumes across the bottom here are absolutely dwarfed by the volume that we're seeing in the pre-market hours. This could be a massive, massive breakout for us. 2.48 million, 4.45 million on a half-hour basis. This thing's got a market cap of 44.62 million with 15.77 million shares to float. So, guys, that could be BEEM, great for intraday trading, that we could see some mega bullishness coming out of that. And we'll watch and see if that's exactly what we get. So I didn't anticipate to talk about BEEM, but if you stuck around through the end of the video, there you go. So guys, not only is there that Discord waiting for you with code word doctor to get your discount on that, but also code word doctor with the coursework through Stockmo Academy for learning how to do these technicals, learning how to read them, the important movements that are there, how to trade them. And then also there's an options course as well. By signing up for those courses using code word doctor, you save $400. If you bundle the two courses together, you get a bundle discount on top of it as well, and they are top-notch and incredible. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning, and we'll see you next video.